the turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs, the still frames in your mind. Hang it on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Good morning and welcome to the 8th grade closing ceremony for the class of 2024. Thank you, Lindley, Margot, Peter, Sophia, Cassandra, for putting together that excellent slideshow of our 8th graders. You all sure were some cute kids. And welcome parents, grandparents, relatives, special friends, siblings, faculty and staff, 6th and 7th graders, and of course, our wonderful 8th graders. This is our first ever virtual 8th grade closing ceremony, and while we had all hoped to be together in the theater on this last day of school, unforeseen circumstances have required a change in venue, and here I am hosting the closing ceremony in my very own living room. You know that this has been a strange time for all of us, and I'm sure that during your quarantine, you've been doing things that you would not normally have done, like sleeping late, maybe making your bed. I too have been behaving a little differently. So for example, I've been rewatching a lot of movies that I've already seen before. And the one that I watched most recently was Endgame, which is part of the Marvel Universe. Now in this film, a group of superheroes called the Avengers search for 6 special gems. And these gems are called Infinity Stones. And the stones have special properties that allow a person to control the mind, manipulate time, rearrange space, to influence the souls of the dead, and to reconfigure our perception of reality. And if one person were so fortunate as to capture all 6 gems at once, then the combined power of all of them would be limitless and potentially dangerous, which is why the Avengers try very hard to keep the stones out of the hands of the bad guys. Now, if I had these stones, I would use their power to magically confiscate every phone in the entire middle school and transform them into one great big bag of popcorn, which we would give out on a Friday afternoon at After Day, and then we would all watch Endgame together, and we would split into small groups afterwards where we would talk about community and advocacy and identity and the symbolism of the Infinity Stones themselves. Because I think that the stones are really a metaphor, a symbol of something that we all have, which is life experience. Because remember that in the Marvel Universe, there is a Mind Stone, a Power Stone, a reality stone, a soul stone, and an advocate stone. Well, there's no advocate stone, but the others are true, and together, don't they sound a lot like the name of a life skills class that Mr. Rollins might teach? Mind, power, reality, and the soul. But seriously, don't those names remind you of things that you've learned about yourself in middle school, like how mindset matters, and that reality is not one-dimensional, and that the soul grows in mysterious ways? And if you've learned any of these things, then you have what is called life experience or wisdom, which is an invisible power that can be saved and used later to see or do things differently. And so what kind of life experience might be powerful enough to call an infinity stone? Well, I would say that the experience that you all have had this spring might be just that. You are living through a pandemic. You have social distanced, you've done school online, you've missed sports seasons and performances, you have longed to be with family members and friends, and if you're like Jacob and Daniel Wolf, you have spent hundreds of hours watching TikTok videos, and except for the part about watching TikTok videos, all of these other experiences combine to form what might be called a seventh infinity stone, one that comes with a power equally formidable called deep appreciation or gratitude. And so what's so great about gratitude? Well, when expressed, it can open hearts and minds. When shared, it radiates gladness on all of those around you. And when pondered to oneself, it has the power to illuminate the soul. And some even say that when you thank a person for something that they have done, such deep appreciation actually makes you taller and smarter. So what I'm saying is that this spring has actually gifted you a power. Now you understand deep in your bones how important friends are and what a luxury it is to be able to sit with them at lunch. For those of you who have been separated from your family, you appreciate their presence even more. You see how much work your parents do to keep you fed and clothed and clean. You might even have begun to appreciate the long walk from the locker room to the turf field, or the fragrant smell of your gym lockers. You appreciate your teachers, coaches, directors, advisors, and counselors who care for you, support you, and love you. And you have likely developed a new appreciation for the picnic tables on the deck, the silly things that your advisors do to make house fun, and little things like a sunny day. In short, you have a new appreciation for life and the park school. And you might have thought that you were appreciative before, but now, having lost so much, you see more clearly how precious and fragile the good things in life really are. So as you head into summer, think of your life's experiences and of the deep appreciation and gratitude that you've recently developed this spring. You have picked up some new tricks, like learning to text, email, brush your teeth, and change your background on Zoom to look like you're sitting next to Walter the dog, and all at the same time. And you've also developed resilience. You've become more independent. And when September rolls around, you will be ready to use this wisdom to do great things. The pandemic will pass, but your newfound powers of insight and gratitude will remain. They will stay with you forever. And like advocate students and avengers alike, you will harness their strength to be happy, to be healthy, to fight the foes that no single superhero can withstand, and to bring light and love to the world by saying thank you often and being gracious for everything that you have. You 8th graders have brought joy to our middle school hallways for 3 years, and I will deeply miss your presence. Thank you for your life gifts. And to your parents, thank you for having such wonderful children. They have been wacky at times, it's true, and they have pushed us often to our limits. But at the same time, they have brought sunshine to our classrooms, and they have provided leadership to our younger students. 8th graders, we have learned from you, we have grown with you, and we cherish every moment that we've been able to spend together. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the show. And now I would like to introduce our first 3 student speakers. But first, a little context. So this spring in our 8th grade language arts classes, Ms. Fries Kostick and Matt Hannibal asked the students to participate in a middle school retrospective writing project, one where they would consider the following questions. Who am I, or who are we? How did I or how did we get this way? And where am I or where are we headed from here? So to tackle some of those questions, I now introduce Sophia Rubin, Gabriel Sachs, and Zara Cheek, who will talk about connecting with others, overcoming adversity, and about the hallways in middle school.
I've always loved school, and 6th grade was no exception. But I was a little nervous about the science class I would be in the next year. I didn't really know the teacher, and I'd heard that he could be strict. That teacher happened to be Mr. Piper, who also happened to be in Mr. Worley's room in-house one day when I was talking about my cat. He informed me that he was a fellow cat lover and showed me pictures of his 4 cats at the time, explaining that Pickles was the loud one. Any science-related anxieties melted away, and I looked forward to being in class with a fellow cat enthusiast. That year, science ended up being my favorite class. Including learning more than I thought my brain could hold, I loved every moment of it. Mr. Piper and I still discuss our cats regularly. I can't help but wonder if I would have been that enthusiastic if I hadn't known Mr. Piper beforehand. Starting a new class with a new teacher can be scary, especially when you don't know them. But that moment changed everything. Now I try to make it my goal to be the subject of one of those moments for someone else. A few words may only move the wire an inch, but that just might be the inch between the wire and the fuse, the one that lights up the whole tunnel. Just a step out of one's way can plant a memory forever in someone's head. So I just want to say thank you, Mr. Piper, for taking a step out of your way to welcome a new student, for making an impact, even if you didn't know it. Thank you, middle schoolers, family, and faculty for being here. And last, but certainly not least, thank you, Pickles, for being the loud one.
An important part of our middle school experience was the overnight trips, which put us outside of our comfort zones. During the Florida winter camping trip, our difficulties ranged from not having running water or a toilet to encountering alligators to striving to collaborate in trying moments. One night, I went to bed on the marshy and waterlogged Florida ground and woke up shivering to near freezing temperatures. I looked forward to a hot breakfast, only to learn that monkeys had ransacked our supplies. Who knew that there were monkeys in Florida? These experiences center around one overarching theme: adversity. Adversity introduces us to who we really are. It tests our limits and expands our boundaries for what we thought was possible. As we become the forefront generation to tackle our ever-changing world with its problems, we will face continuing adversity and failure. But what is more important than the successes that we may experience are our responses to the failures that we will inevitably endure. True success is achieved from going from one failure to another without any loss in eagerness to face the next.
When I was in 6th grade, I knew that the thing that would scare me the most would be the hallways. Seriously, have you seen how crowded those hallways can get? And with all those tall people, that's scary for a 5'1" 6th grader. The point is, I had a feeling that there would be a lot going on in these hallways, and let me tell you, I was right. There was this one time in the hallway where I got run over by a cardboard box. Yes, that actually happened, and I have witnesses. To provide some context, I was in 6th grade walking down the hallway with a friend when we saw this 8th grader sliding down the hallway in a box. But he fell backwards and the box slid up from under him, hitting me right in the face and knocking me right to the ground, which led to me and my friend dying in a pile of laughter. There's been lots of laughter shared throughout our grade through these middle school years, in the classrooms and on trips, and especially in the hallways. And while the hallways are quiet right now, I'm extremely confident that we'll laugh in the same way in the high school hallways with friends by our sides as we trip and bump into people and make mistakes and get scared, because have you seen how crowded those hallways can get? And with all those tall people, it's going to be scary for a 5'5" 9th grader.
Thank you, Sophia, Gabe, and Zara. Now, before I present the middle school faculty who have a special message for this year's 8th graders, I would like to acknowledge a few people who have helped put this week's activities and events together. Thank you, Maeve Royce, for organizing and producing the first musical number that we heard this morning. Thank you, Alpana Chibber, Lisa Hellberg, and Azaria Sims-L for coordinating yesterday's awesome field day and the teachers who ran the various events. Thank you, Heather Fries Kostick and Matt Hannibal, for mentoring today's student speakers. Thank you, Lisa Helberg, for coordinating this afternoon's drive-through. And thank you, communications team, for their help with all of our awesome signage. And now, a word from our faculty.
Have a great summer, 8th grade. Thanks for 3 years.
Congratulations, great job. Bye.
Thank you, middle school administration, staff, and faculty. And now I would like to introduce our next three student speakers, Jai Sethi, Pablo Quintero, and Lucia Kellerman, who will talk about blink moments, trying new things, and what it means to be self-aware. Take it away, Jai.
I walked the relatively short path towards the school door with excitement. When I entered, I met a few people and we went to the lecture hall, where we were briefed on a few things about the school year. One thing Josh Wolf said during that lecture, and many others in 6th grade, is, it will feel like just a blink of the eye and you will be graduating 8th grade and getting ready for high school. I, along with probably other people, started blinking, thinking it might make the year go faster, or to see if it would actually happen. However, I now realize that he was instead talking about how, not before, but after, we would remember these days. Like how I still vividly remember Jeff Myers telling my class to enter his classroom for first period. When I am thinking about these memories, it feels like I can blink and be back in 8th grade. These massive amounts of time between the memory and now feels non-existent.
My name is Pablo Quintero, and my experience at Park has not only changed me as a scholar, but also as a person. From a canoeing trip in Florida, to music competitions in Hershey Park, and to something as simple as having loving and understanding teachers and peers. I have met so many wonderful people at Park. The teachers I have had since 6th and 8th grade have helped me gain knowledge, creativity, but also wisdom. I'm so grateful that I can attend a school that is filled with great staff, a unique group of students, and a place filled with endless opportunities. I never believed such a school existed when I was a little kid. Park has brought me many opportunities and unique experiences, like going to Florida, Advocate, the Hershey Park trips, and many more exciting things, which brings me to the point that I would not have been the person I am today without trying something new. But I have also grown, not only in size, but in knowledge, wisdom, maturity, athleticism, creativity, and most of all, experience. I'd like to thank the amazing teachers, my wonderful peers, my supportive family, for helping me on my journey through middle school. Once again, thank you, Park.
It was only recently that I realized that these teachings had prepared me for quarantine. I read articles on the coronavirus every day. I am finding new ways to connect with friends, and am eternally grateful for the work my parents do. My curiosity helps me find alternative approaches to improving my community from home. Just as I had put the pieces together on the school bus to Annapolis, this unfamiliar self-awareness has opened my eyes. It is now vastly more evident that Park not only deepens comprehension in academic classes, but also inadvertently teaches its students how to learn about and contribute to society. The future is bright as I transition to high school, and because of Park, quarantine has only meant more progress for the class of 2024. Congratulations, 8th grade.
Thank you, Jai, Pablo, and Lucia. Now, before presenting the class of 2024, we would like to acknowledge the students who will be moving on to new schools next year. Maya Abraham, Philip Meter, Amani Murray Lumpo, Peter Sergeyevich, and Hayden Spitzer. We will miss your presence, we love you, and we wish you the best of luck. And now, wise words of wisdom from our very own 8th graders at Park.
Thanks, Philip.
Thank you everyone for tuning in today. 6th and 7th graders, congratulations on completing an arduous but successful school year. As of now, you are free to enjoy your summer. And to our 8th graders and families, we look forward to seeing you all this afternoon at school. Please aim to arrive at the drive-thru anytime between 1:30 and 2:30, but not before 1:30. We cannot wait to see you. Again, thank you all. Have a wonderful day and a summer.